Welcome to this video on Speaking and Listening Standard 1.1. We will discuss listening for important information in group discussions. We will be covering the core standards in speaking and listening. It is indicated that students must initiate and participate effectively in a range of collaborative discussions, one-on-one, in groups, and teacher-led, with diverse partners on grades 9 through 10 topics, texts, and issues, building on others' ideas and expressing their own clearly and persuasively. Come to discussions prepared, having read and researched material under study. Explicitly draw on that preparation by referring to evidence from texts and other research on the topic or issue to stimulate a thoughtful, well-reasoned exchange of ideas. We will be covering the following: listening to important information in class discussions, taking note of main ideas, major details, verbal and nonverbal signals. You've probably been listening to people speak since you were born, and most likely have a good idea of how to figure out what people are saying and what they mean when they speak. How do we listen for information? Listening and hearing are not the same thing. You hear simply because sound reaches your ear. Hearing is therefore passive. Listening, on the other hand, is an active thinking skill, where you concentrate to understand, analyze, interpret, and evaluate what you hear. Listening for important information is when you learn to take mental notes of main ideas and major details as you listen in group discussions. One of the most valuable listening skills you can acquire is to identify and remember the main ideas and major details in discussions. How do you listen for main ideas? First, listen carefully to the beginning statements of the speaker and to the points the speaker emphasizes, repeats, and enumerates. Visualize main ideas. Restate them in your own words. Take notes and decide whether the examples, definition, facts, and statistics support the main ideas you had in mind. How do you verify for major details? As you listen, ask yourself what makes each main idea true. Keep the details that answer that question in mind. Try to predict details the speaker will mention. Lastly, try to link the main ideas and supporting details into some sort of visual pattern. You can also take note of signals that will help you determine main ideas and major details that is discussed in a group discussion. First is verbal signals, which are signal words and phrases to alert important ideas. There are important words to watch for and remember as you listen. For introduction, we will discuss, today's discussion will cover, let's look first at. Main ideas, a point to be made, let me repeat, I want to stress, remember that. Change in direction, next, however, even though, let's move on. Take note of these phrases for major details. For instance, that is to say, in support of, for example, and for conclusions, finally, in brief, in conclusion, all in all. Nonverbal signals may guide you at certain points in a speech or lecture with movements and gestures to reinforce verbal signals. The leader may alert you to main ideas by speaking more loudly and more emphatically, by moving arms, by standing up, or by moving closer to the members. He or she may alert you by speaking more softly and slowly, or by sitting down. Why is this knowledge and skill important for you as a student? If you are in a situation that requires active listening, like class discussions, group meetings, you need to prepare yourself mentally and physically. When you listen to a lecture, discussion, or speech, it is important that you comprehend the literal or exact meaning of the information that you hear. This skill is essential for you to actively participate in discussion and be able to ask and answer questions and issues raised in the discussion. We use this on different instances in and outside the classroom environment: lectures, classroom discussions, speeches, group discussions, symposiums. Let's do an activity. Work with the group and discuss a literary piece that you have all read. Listen for main idea and major details. Take notes while listening and be able to ask questions about the main idea and major details. Make sure that you also answer questions posted by your group mates. How do you determine which details are the most important ones? In order to determine which details are most important, you must analyze what you hear. Take note of the suggestions discussed in listening for major details. Do you need to take note of everything in a discussion? Yes, it will help you as a member or leader of the discussion to be able to actively participate by posing questions and responding to questions that relate to what is being discussed. As a student, you're expected to propel conversations by posing and responding to questions that relate to the current discussion. Actively incorporate others into the discussion. Clarify, verify, or challenge ideas and conclusions. We've come to the end of our session. We have discussed the difference between hearing and listening, listening for important information, determining verbal and nonverbal signals. By the end of this session, you should know or be able to do the following. Listen to important information in class discussions. Take note of main ideas, major details, verbal and nonverbal signals. This information should help your reading comprehension skills. Good luck with your reading.